So if nobody has a problem, we don't have a quorum yet, but I'm gonna, if Mark can just start, just so that we're not all just sitting here. Thank you, Mark. Thank you. Oh, 2 pieces of paper, we're gonna get lost.
Actually, 3 pieces. 2 are scheduled.
But Anita's not coming, right? Because this was something you and her were working on?
Yeah, no, she's not coming. She said unless you guys asked her to come specifically. So, I put together this RFP. Well, Anita and I put it together.
You and Lou?
Anita.
Thank you.
Basically, it requests, it's a request for proposal from web design companies. The single sheet that I gave you is a list of a whole bunch of websites from companies that do specifically school and school district websites. And my recommendation would be to send the final RFP to them in addition to making it public and anybody else that you want to send it to. The things that are highlighted in yellow are either place markers or questions that I had for you guys. The dates were just kind of recommended dates based on things that you guys had talked about, timelines. The big change that I've made and would recommend to you guys is that we don't actually go for a launch date until January 1st of 2020. It's just way too short a time span to put this together. I think we can put together something very simple based on the template that Matt already uses for Dover for the 2 schools, so they look similar, and that's something that we can do pretty easily. But as far as creating an entire web presence, which is what this RFP is for, it's really too big a project to try to push out there that fast. We may not even get proposals back on the timeline that I put out here, because we're basically asking somebody to put together an entire branding site for River Valleys and something that contains a CMS, which is a content management system, which is how the data is managed. It's what allows Matt to update X section, Tammy to update this section. WordPress, for example, is a content management system. There are a lot of them out there. Most of the companies on this list actually work with their own proprietary content management system because they're designed for schools. I'm not sure. I will. The 2 questions that one's from Matt. Matt, I forgot the name of the classroom service. It's the website that you guys use. Your
The name of
the grading.
the Power School?
Okay, thank you. I just couldn't remember what it was. The budget. If I remember correctly, you guys had in the neighborhood of $3,000 or so left from the grant. Whatever that number is, I put in here, and you'll notice in the budget section, I have it listed as has to be encumbered by June 1st. That gives them an incentive to move forward on this fast. But your overall budget, I don't know what you guys were thinking, so I didn't put a budget range in. I don't think you can get this for less than $10,000 to $15,000 a total when you get to the final numbers. But you may. I mean, if you don't want to spend that much, put in a small number and see what they bring back.
I mean, people just don't want to do it for us because we're such a wonderful group.
Not that many people are overly generous.
Mark, you're shattering my bubble.
Sorry. I still did this for you for free, so.
That's true.
I think the.
Thank you, this is nice, this is a good.
You're welcome. It's a draft, so obviously I will provide whomever you want with access to Google for Docs files. I can give it to Bill and edit the final one, or I can do it, whatever, however you guys want to do that. I think the most important section of this for the company that's going to be looking at it is the website functionality. And I tried to put a lot in here without being too specific, because I felt it was important that whoever's going to put a bid in be able to put their own slant on it. But I didn't want to leave too many, the things on here, Anita and I felt were important to have there. Either because we didn't want somebody going off on some wild tangent as far as navigation goes, you know, doing something totally odd. We didn't want, we don't want it to be an image-heavy website because Wardsboro doesn't have internet access, so you can't have something that's going to take forever to load. So each of these on here has a specific reason. I'd be more than happy to go over each one with you if you want.
Well, let me do this, Mark. Do you have anything else you want to point out on this?
No.
What I'd like to do is, I'd like to get some input from the board, input from our administrative people. There's no real public here. Maybe the newspaper lady lacked
There
our
were
public.
from the public? No, I don't know.
And let's just see, so, I know we just got to look at it. Rick, you have any?
I want, there's one thing I want clear about, and hopefully Matt can help me out with this. How do your teachers use the website for something? That was kind of mentioned along the way. I mean, is there some sort of content or functionality that your teachers need to have in order to do their job?
Our teachers, I don't know how it is, Tim, at Wardsboro, but some of our teachers do put up homework assignments and use it to communicate with families. The library catalog is up there. There are resources available from the library for teachers to use. So there's some functionality, but it's not high traffic.
They don't need it to do their job, though. I mean, Samantha was kind of fidgeting when we were here last time talking about this, about that she needed it for something.
I think that was
You know
more
what I mean?
about
They just
our
need-
domains. I think that had more to do with,
Like document sharing and all that?
yes.
Yeah. So there's workflow of documents.
Okay, that's
also
it.
Yeah.
supported with it, yeah.
Which I did not address in this. I was going to address that after we got to the website part.
Okay.
So it's related because, as Mark said, there's the content management system,
Mhm.
and Google provides that, including the web part. That's why a lot of us use it, because it's built into the things we use every day.
Sure.
It's just not as nice as we would like it.
Okay.
It's not as, am I getting this right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it doesn't look as professional as, say, another type of web development platform.
Okay.
So that's why it gets, I think what Mark's saying is why it gets complicated, because we have all this workflow built into Google,
Sure.
yet we don't, we sort of get by with the web presence, but it's not great.
Okay, I just didn't know what the website had to do with it, you know, how much that had to do with what we're talking about.
They're kind of, and Matt, I apologize, you asked me to put a diagram together and I didn't fill my homework. There are kind of two things we're talking about here. One is the web presence, which is somebody goes to RVUSD.net and gets whatever it is we're going to provide for them. Then the other is the document workflow, which right now is done through Wyndham Central Board. Am I right? Yeah, wyndhamcentralboard.org. The actual domain names are irrelevant. It's just a pointer. But the document workflow is back-end stuff that has to be managed, especially because of the merging of the two districts. We've got to do something about that. But as far as the workflow, getting the documents to the website, what I'm asking on the RFP is for them to be able to pull in whatever is available through the
Okay, so
Google
they
domains.
still would be using the system then?
It would be pulling the data from it and displaying it in a different fashion.
That had nothing to do really with website development then, really? What we're asking for here?
No, this is developing a website.
Oh, it is?
Yeah,
Okay.
yep. That they will have nothing to do with the workflow other than pulling the data which is already existing in one form now, maybe in a different form 6 months or a year from now, but they're just going to be pulling, right now, if you go to wyndhamcentral.org, wyndhamcentralboard.org, go to school boards, go to River Valleys, you have a few different options, agendas, minutes, et cetera, et cetera. They are going to have to pull that same data which you get going from there and make it available on RVUSD.net.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
More
really.
board stuff and not teacher stuff.
Yeah, that's not teacher stuff.
That's not teacher stuff, okay.
Yeah.
I think that's where you,
That's where I was going with that, yeah. I mean, how is a website change going to impact the way your teachers work? I guess we're just pointing to working, living documents that
I don't think so.
reside somewhere.
For Dover.
Well, you guys use sites, right?
Right.
We use
That's-
sites.
Yeah.
Use sites. So
A little bit, yeah.
sites is Google's, excuse my French, half-assed content management system.
It's okay.
Whatever.
It's not French, by the way.
Whatever, thanks for the lesson. Whatever,
that's their year.
whatever content management system the website is based on will have its version of sites for teachers to build their own sites for their students and parents on.
Okay.
So the functionality will still be there, it will just be a slightly different format.
Okay.
Does that answer your question?
That kind of answers my question.
Were
Okay.
you always confused?
I'm not confused, but it's hard without seeing it, you know what I mean, and how it functions. Yeah.
So that's what the designer's for.
Did you have any questions or?
Yeah, I know we talked about the structure of the site. Does the RFP kind of specify that? I'm going through it quickly, exactly how it needs to be structured with the, because we had it with the River Valleys,
With
the two schools.
Going back to the,
Yeah.
this
Right.
thing that was done before.
Right.
It does in the sense that we're only focusing on the RVUSD side. The RFP is just for RVUSD. It's not for the other, it's not for the SU or the other
So the site
districts.
is, you were asking for just the RVUSD site, and then based on that, we'll populate it with all the other.
Yeah, basically what it will come down to, I mean, their creativity, who knows exactly what they're going to recommend, but essentially it will be 3 sites in one. A
Right.
board site, a Wardsboro site, and a Dover site, all integrated into one site.
One site.
Yeah.
Great.
And
How
as
about
far as,
populating it, can we populate it with little green people?
sure,
They're
you
inside.
can, as long as they've got, elongated heads and big eyes.
Yeah.
Oh, you good, buddy?
Well, the only thing, getting back to the budget, I'm not sure if do we
Right,
need
we'll
to
talk to Lori about that in a sec.
No. I mean, do
Oh.
we even need to put it in the RFP?
I think it's important because I think if people are gonna bid on this, and they're thinking that, there's $20,000, we tell them there's 2.
Okay.
Or if they think it's only 2,000 because it's a school and they see a $20,000 budget, they
Yeah,
may
that's
say,
true, that's
hey, I'm
true.
more interested in this than I thought I
Well,
was.
yeah, okay, that's true.
I thought
But I
about
think
that.
we would have to have a discussion about that too.
About the range.
Yeah, I mean, and I know Mark a little bit, not real well, but I would imagine that you found some examples in different places too. So this, you,
Of
some
sites,
RFPs that were requested?
I took bits and pieces from different RFPs.
So there's, I think that may be a more common thing in an RFP.
Oh,
for-
yeah. I tried to rewrite that section without having a range in it.
Yeah.
And if you don't give them a range, I don't even think you get responses because they're not gonna spend the time putting a proposal together
Okay.
without having some idea of what you're gonna be looking to spend.
Laura, do you want a few minutes to read that? I'll come back to you.
I've been looking.
Do you have any questions of Mark before we go to?
I'm in awe of the requirement that it must be designed for slow rural internet access.
That was Anita. You insisted that we had something about that in
I
there.
shouldn't say I'm in awe.
Oh, it's probably not the right word, but.
Does need that for reporting.
Matt and Tammy, or Bill, you guys?
Um,
Lori?
My only other
Oh,
question,
I'm
sorry, is, and I apologize if I have missed
Just keep going.
or connected,
No problem.
forgotten this. Do we have a dollar amount that we?
We're gonna talk to
have
Lori about
targeted?
that in a minute.
Okay.
So, Lori, you had your hand up.
Yeah, I just had a couple of questions. This is just to build the project, right? Not ongoing support?
Correct.
Just wanted to make sure that.
There is in the proposal requirements, the third one from the last is discuss your short and long-term support service options. But the paragraph right after that essentially says we're going to be taking complete control of it, assume nobody knows what they're doing, make sure people can figure it out.
Trained, yeah,
Yeah.
okay. And would you mind just changing instead of June 1st, would you put May 31st for me?
We can do,
Okay. On
Anything.
that, it's, state grants have to be
Encumbered by,
encumbered by May 31st.
is that in the budget details on page 3 you're talking?
Yeah,
it
Okay,
is.
so you want that May 31st?
yes, please. And then I'll come up with a better figure, but I think it was right around $3,000 as more expenses come in. For instance, we just ordered all the checks for River Valley. So,
Why put your checks? We're not gonna sign it.
you're not going to sign any? Your vendors will be very sad, and your employees. But, so, there's expenses like that that are.
No,
that were still coming in,
That
yeah.
are still coming in, but I'll get you a better figure.
I'm hoping we save a lot of money on attorney's fees.
Those are just.
There's a little extra there.
Oh, and I guess I just wondered if there could be, part of it is for the employees to be able to, access what are the benefit, that type of thing, an employee, how they access their employee portal through our.
Yeah. I
That
mean,
would be
if
under
there-
functionality.
It
Yeah,
would be, yeah.
it's
If there is an employee, a pre-existing employee
There,
portal.
there will be, there is, Dover doesn't have an employee portal, I'm thinking, probably not.
We use yours. For most
Right,
of
but
it.
because you're not signing into an accounting system
Right.
and seeing paychecks and things like that, Wardsboro does have that option.
Well, we will.
You will?
Doing
Mhm. So
that.
if we can have just access to the employee portal,
Yeah, I mean.
and I can get you more information, that's just a
Yeah.
sort of a link type of thing.
Exactly,
but
yeah.
I just want to make sure I mention it, so. it's on there.
You good?
Mhm, Thanks.
Tammy and Matt, before we get to the big guy?
I just thought about where you brought up the idea of sustainability and maintenance, because that tends to be one of the big problems with school websites.
Yeah.
Is they're built and then it's hard to keep up with them.
It's built, the person builds it, leaves for greener pastures, and then
Something like that.
What about licensing fees?
For,
Typically, isn't there usually like a yearly licensing fee that would need to be?
For the domain.
Yeah.
but yeah, this doesn't address the domain, it doesn't address the wardsboroschool.org and the doverschool.net, it doesn't address
Okay.
those. That's, I mean, you're talking $15, $20 a year for each one, so. I'm saying it's pocket change.
Tammy's gonna take
It's two
that out of
pockets.
her. She's gonna take that out of petty cash. So Matt, Tammy, I'm sorry, you're good? Matt?
Yeah.
You good? So here's my thought, is if we want to move forward with this, again, if, just, and Mark, I appreciate all your work, I'm not trying to push it down, put it down, but if Wyndham Central then decides to go do something totally different, and we've gone this way, then once again, we're, kind of screwed up. And it seems as though we're trying to make things more simple for this, I shouldn't say more simple. We're trying to make things more workable for the superintendent's office. And I'm just concerned that should this be a WCSU project versus a River Valley's project. And I don't know what West River's doing, Bill, or what.
trying to get a budget cut.
Yeah, I understand. But I mean, does that make
It's not a high
sense?
priority right
No, and I get that, but again, you know, we're having to, you know, put the brakes on because other people are having issues. And then if we decide to move ahead and then all of a sudden West River decides they want to do something totally different, then we're kind of in the muddle again. And then, you know, we're going to hear about how we've created all these problems for Wyndham Central because, you know, now the superintendent has 2 contracts and or 2 things for the, you know, for the website structure. And, you know, is that, I don't know what to do. I don't know where to go, so I'm looking for some input from central office, I guess.
now.
And I'm not meaning, and if I'm putting you on the spot, you
No,
know,
no, no,
think about it.
I would defer to the knowledge of somebody greater than I to give an informed opinion. I don't know. I appreciate and absolutely understand exactly what you're saying. I don't know where WCSU or West River is on this mindset. And I would defer to someone with Matt's knowledge to even understand how that would fit and go together. I want to echo exactly what Matt and Mark said. The ongoing is really the giant challenge. It's who's responsible. Just for the short period of time during the run-up to a vote, and just having a point person that could dedicate their time, that's huge. And so I think it's a big challenge. And so I very much appreciate the thoughtfulness that you guys are putting into this.
Matt, do you want to follow up and then Laura? And you don't have to.
No, I've been thinking about the structure and all this, and I think West River, no matter where it ends up, is going to have the same problem that we're facing now with our presence, with our structure. Systems are similar, although I think Leland and Gray uses a Joomla CMS, which is a completely different professional level platform, not like Google. So, but the other schools, I think, are all going to be looking for the other schools in the West River side are all going to be looking for the same type of solution that we're looking for, which is something that's relatively simple, that looks good, that's easy to update, that's not too content heavy for the rural areas that don't have great connection, yet is going to be easy for the staff. What's that?
It's for the,
Yeah, yet that'll be easy for the staff to maintain. And so I think if you, this is my personal opinion, but if you go forward and you build something with those things in mind, it's pretty likely that West River is going to want to get on your train because you already got it rolling and want to do something similar, especially if whatever we build is as awesome as we want it to be and know it can be. I think West River will want to do that. I wouldn't want to speak for them, but I can imagine they'd be like, yes, we want to sign up for that, at which point maybe you could duplicate some of the work that has been done with River Valleys in the West River side to have the look be similar like Mark was talking about and so on and so forth.
Bill?
Yes,
So,
Richard.
in your office, let's say this was to be a WCSU function.
Yep.
Who would oversee this? Would this be out of your financial department? Would this be out of your education department? I mean, well, I mean, I know if we're talking about accounting, that's kind of Lori's thing. I know if we're gonna be talking about, you know, some special ed stuff, that's gonna be, you know, Steph. And then if you're talking about curriculum development, we go to Jen.
Right.
Who would you, like, if we said, if WCSU, well, he doesn't really have an IT department.
That's your question.
problem.
That's your question. Who's your IT department?
Okay.
If we give it to you.
So who's your IT department?
We contract out that service.
Okay,
We don't have an employee.
so how long is that contracted for?
We do it on a year-by-year basis.
So would it make sense to take this, change it to WCSU, and send this out for your contract for your service for next year?
It's possible.
That's a bigger discussion.
Okay.
Lori's got a great thought.
Well, but Laura,
I
keep
actually have a
blowing Laura off.
question. Go ahead, Laura.
I always want to hear what Lori, can we hear Lori?
Yeah,
And then
fine.
No, it's
I
a
just kept
question,
pushing
and
you off.
it's actually a question to Matt, I think, because he probably knows.
First
more
off,
about it.
hang on. We're gonna call the meeting to order whatever time Laura walked in. 20 after, was it, quarter after? I don't know. Hopefully, what time on the camera did
20 after.
did she make her
It was
appearance?
20 after.
And it was all makeup's fault.
Yeah.
So two
Should've
things.
seen me before.
One, Matt, is it, Wyndham Central is also a Google site. So this really would be Wyndham Central building Wyndham Central professional site. And then these two other sites that would all link together.
Right.
Right. So that was one, just clarification that I wanted to make. So it is a bigger job.
So this isn't really doing anything that Wyndham Central can utilize. It's just doing something that River Valleys is gonna utilize for its people.
Well, no,
The-
Wyndham Central can use it as well. I mean, we do now. We have an employee, we have, access to employee forms and HR and all that is on Wyndham Central's website. The other thing is that if there is money left in the transition grant, we do want to spend it.
By when?
May 31st, I have to
It
have it
has to be
obligated.
covered.
So,
Okay, here's my question. If I may. So it's kind of a two people question. So is there a natural place to kind of, do we know if there's interest by the other administrators right now in the SU? Is there a natural place where that could be checked into fairly soon? And is Mark, because this seems really quite good, is Mark willing to, like, if we were to ask at the SU to kind of bump up to work that RFP at the SU level? Or I don't even know if now we're out of our league, we shouldn't be talking about that.
Or is this something,
Is this
Bill, we
still
should bring up Wednesday night?
Yes, probably.
But again, then we're gonna have a whole bunch of questions.
Remember I was discussing before, kind of this, we've got two different sections. We've got the web presence and we've got the data structure.
Right.
If we're going to move this up to the SU level, then it needs to be part of a data structure discussion. So it becomes a much bigger discussion.
I guess maybe I'm getting hung up on, in a $3 million budget, $10,000 isn't a big percentage, but I just, how many times we spent money on stuff and it's good for 6 months or a year, and then, the state of Vermont or somebody says, hey, here's what we're gonna do now, or here's what we negotiated a 3-year contract and the state of Vermont slaps our hand. It's,
The goal of the development of this site is that you will, at the end of this process, whatever the date is, whatever the date goes live, training is done for all the staff, at that point, you essentially cut off services with that business. I put in there for them to discuss support rates, but my intention would be to essentially cut off ties with them and for them to have developed a site which is self-sustainable, where if a new principal comes in, they get assigned to the principal's group. Start talking at the domain level at this point, which sort of the OU level, at the SU level, and they automatically get the permissions to do what the principal does. If you get a new science teacher, they go into a science teacher's group. They automatically get those permissions.
I understand that. My issue is like transportation. So we have been responsible for our own transportation since Moby Dick was a minnow. And we went out and bought buses, I think ES means you're kissing or something, Vicky used to always say. But we do all this stuff, and then all of a sudden the state says, oh, hey, school districts aren't smart enough to do their own transportation. It's got to go to the central office because it'll be so much better and we'll save so much money. And then they take our buses and we have to write a check to Wyndham Central, writes a check back to us, which, I just see this, we spent $10,000 or $15,000 to develop this great website, then all of a sudden the state says, well, we don't have enough control over your websites. We're going to give you this website, and now we've kind of wasted money, but
I'd like to nudge this discussion along. So it would be really, I think it would be my preference that we maybe ask, by we, I mean you, because I won't be there, Government Central, if there is a group that may want to come together and task force this, so that we don't have disconnected websites that, you know, that we're not just continuing to create problems for ourselves, that we have that underlying kind of data.
Also, I mean, at the last, not the last meeting, the meeting before, discussion was about an RVUSD identity versus an SU identity.
Yes.
And that's what the website is. It's your identity.
Well, but that's what it looks like as
Right.
opposed to what it does. Right? I mean, so, you know, like the guts underneath it, like data management and that stuff, that's the stuff that we really need to be talking about at the SU level. I mean, what it does, what it looks like.
The data management as far as the files, like the agendas, that stuff, that's at SU level.
Right.
But the data management for an event that Tammy posts, or something like that, that's still district-wide.
But you can standardize that so that it's
You
just.
can,
Yeah,
you can.
so that it's, you're not having to recreate it.
Right, but what you don't want is, you don't want a CMS created that has a look to it that's then going to be propagated to the SU or to the other school districts, if RVUSD is looking to have its own identity.
Yeah, but I mean, I think you can have your own identity and have the same guts.
You can, you
As-
get a lot more money. Now you're talking about developing the
Because
back
it's
end
much-
completely
Right.
independent of the front end.
Right.
Which is two separate projects. From a website development perspective, it's two separate projects.
hey folks, hang on. Are you done?
No,
Okay.
so,
When you're done, it's Dwight's turn,
Okay.
and then it's.
Did we call the meeting to order?
Yes, I did that a little bit ago.
7:20, 7:20.
Right, thank you.
Remember when Laura got out of makeup? Point of order, mister. One let, like,
just had a
I
buzzing
can come
moment.
back to you?
God bless him.
You want,
So Wednesday,
Bill,
could
you
we,
gotta look at
could
Laura.
we on Wednesday, could we on Wednesday, see if there's a task force that is interested in coming around this, and either they are or they are not. And if they are not, then we proceed. And if they are, then we wait and see, like kind of a summary of task force.
But I thought we just heard from Mark was it doesn't really matter because it's two different things.
So if we, a data and file management system at the SU, what files do we share?
Well, we want to share employee documents and,
Policies, minutes, agendas.
Well, the employee stuff is really just, it's just a link to the existing portal. So it'd be no different than us linking to WCSU's website from RVUSD.net. As far as the documents, document structure, essentially, and Bill, correct me if I'm wrong, probably isn't
Bill,
changing.
I probably can't correct him.
Okay, probably isn't gonna change a whole lot all that fast. And we're really just talking about the documents that are made publicly available. So the agendas, the minutes, the drafts, et cetera, et cetera. And that structure matters as long as it's staying in Google, which it's gonna stay. Doesn't really matter how those folders are laid out. The website would be able to pull that data in, which is really all we're talking about doing. We're not talking about managing the RVUSD.net files, the agendas, and minutes on the website. It's just gonna pull in that list of them from the SU's domain. Better way of putting it.
are you good?
Yeah, I'm still wanting to
We
do
can
what
come
I was
back.
asking to do.
Okay.
And it is two different, I mean, it's two different scales, is what it really is. I mean, it's, doing it for an SU with a bunch of different facades, or doing it just for
Yeah.
a district with two facades. So it's a big district with multiple facades, or a small district with two facades, right? Would we have a Dover and,
One facade for RVUSD.
We would.
That's what we were trying to.
okay,
So the schools aren't gonna look different. There will be something that identifies whether it's the school color. So the borders of the website will be the school color. Whatever it is, by looking at the page, you'll be able to know that you're on Dover's website or Wardsboro's
which is
website.
a facade. It's two different facades.
But we're not talking about a totally different, the front of each of these buildings look totally different. The websites are not gonna look totally different. There'll just be something that identifies it to make it easy to know what site you're on. But it will all look like it's the same website.
Yes.
Poor Dwight has been dying to ask this question.
I'm gonna just, yeah.
All right. I thought we had kind of had this conversation already at the last meeting, in terms of going it alone compared to, going to the district.
Right. And I was good with it with that 3,000, now that I'm here
Oh,
at 10 to 15.
okay, so I was wondering what changed.
Now-
So,
Right.
I still think, we kind of voted to go forward with the RFP, and I would suggest we continue, and maybe it is 3,000. So, if it comes back, but what if we start the process now? And then, because we talked about that at the last meeting, start the process now, go to the district, I think that would really bog it down, so I don't see why. It seems to me, I listened to what Matt has to say about kind of being on the forefront, and also it'll get to be too large a project, that it makes sense to go forward with the way it is.
Yeah, I just, like you said, I was thinking we're gonna use up the last of that little bit of
Right.
what was, now that we're going higher, say there's 4,000 left and we go to 15, that's 11. And that's why I said earlier, 11 in a $3 million budget isn't a lot, but
Right.
next September when we're sitting there saying, wow, if we'd only cut $11,000, we could have had a tax rate that was only 20 cents higher instead of 25 cents higher.
Because we won't know until the RFP.
Right, well, no, because Mark's asking us to put a number in there.
Well,
Well, that's why, that's one
you
reason
need a
that's
range.
not putting it in.
Yeah.
And as Laura said a minute ago, 10 to 15,000 that's a small number. I
Yeah.
think you will get
Some
proposals
people's pocketbooks, it's a pretty large.
for website development. It's a small number.
No, and I know what you're saying, but I'm just, again, it's, the number was, if we're still talking $3,000, this conversation would have ended a while ago. It's gonna end now anyways, because Dwight's gonna make a motion.
I am. I am.
Well, you can, and then,
So, do we already do the motion, or what's the motion?
no, no, but somebody can make a motion to approve this, put some
Oh.
numbers in it, and we can move it forward.
Okay.
Or we can find out maybe it won't move forward. It could be a tie vote,
Yeah.
It could be.
or we can just sit on it and not do anything.
Well, we certainly sit down and wait. WCSU, I suppose, but that'll delay it.
But that means we won't
Well,
have
we-
this discussion till,
We won't be able to spend
A week
$3,000
and a
unless
half.
we get it out. And, October 31st,
yes. So I'm open.
How much do we have?
Roughly 3.
That's for,
Just
River
for
Valley.
events, yeah.
how much is there for the SU in that line item-ish?
No, West River's gonna run over, aren't they, from what I saw?
No, they'll probably come right on budget. So there was somewhere around 11 altogether, but like I said, there's more expenses coming in.
We had to get the check so we can write the check for this.
Checks are expensive. I have a lot of funds.
So,
to get checked.
according to this, we didn't have the money that's allocated for the start of the project, so we can put 3,000 in there, and then the overall budget, it won't be spent until after the 31st, because, right? So, we are able to spend the money now, and then after the start of the district, we can allocate it.
Yeah, but remember too, we didn't put any money in the budget for web development. So wherever it goes, we're gonna ask the 4 people sitting in here to figure out where they're gonna get that $10,000 from. And I don't think Tammy and Matt are gonna say they're gonna, take it out of their pay.
There's another option. Depending on what you guys are looking to do as far as marketing RVUSD and IB and the STEM, web development can be put into the same pot. You can go to the people, next town meetings, they give us $25,000 for marketing. We can bring more people to
Yeah, but
town.
remember, that won't be
I
available
understand.
until, July 1st of 2020. So, I mean, for now, if we want to do this, if we want to move this forward, and you're suggesting that we put some numbers in there, we're going to have to decide on what numbers to put in there. And somebody's going to have to make a motion, it'll have to be seconded, we'll have discussion, and then I'll vote. So that's where I'm at. Or if nobody wants to make a motion, then I'm just going to move us along on the agenda because it doesn't seem so we're going anywhere. Right?
Doesn't seem like we're going anywhere. It seems like we've been stepping apart on this for a few meetings now.
Yeah, so whatever you folks want to do. Y'all. You all. Yeah. I think it's a real rule.
Huh?
I think it's a real rule. Only the same.
And we can put an RFP out there and not accept it too. If we come back.
Yeah,
Right?
but
I mean,
again,
it's kind
I
of
don't-
sleazy, but
Hang on, Peter, I don't think, right, I think it is,
You can
and
do
I
that.
think if you have people do that, I mean, if it went out and nobody came back anywhere near our numbers, that's one way, but if somebody comes back at 15 and say, yeah, well, you know what, we decided we really don't want to do it, the next time you go to put it out, how much effort are people really going to put into to responding to it? I hate to just do an RFP to see if somebody wants to talk with us. But again, we can do whatever you guys want. All it takes is somebody
So
say, I make a motion to,
Peter. Are you?
hang on, Peter.
No, sorry.
Well, just as a member of the public, my question is, are we clear about what would be the return on this investment? I mean, what is the benefit? that-
Well, yeah, I think that was covered a long time ago.
Okay,
It's all right here.
well, that's how it all gets done.
Right. Well, it's kind
And
of what
I'm
the
just
benefit
looking
is.
into next year and having that website or not having it and the difference that will make. And I'm suggesting it will certainly make a difference.
Oh, I mean, just some of the things in his website functionality requirements. I mean, I went to the WCSU website to look up our minutes, and we had our minute discussion. And they're not in any kind of order, and you gotta go to the completed ones, to the approved ones, to the submitted ones. I mean, it's a horror show, and I agree. I mean, I spent probably an hour.
So there's two ways we can do this. We can do this like the cheap way, or we can do it like the right way. So,
Well, we're not gonna do anything until somebody says, I make a motion.
but if we're gonna do it, if we're gonna do it the right way, so what are we? You're looking for dollar amount?
Well, Mark is suggesting that in this RFP, which we have here, that we put number amounts where it has X's, because it looked funny, we have to put a date.
Lori, do you need? Would you need a response from the RFP? What would you need before May 31st?
Well, we have to commit the money.
Would just
Yeah,
a motion?
right. Yeah, I mean, you can commit the money tonight, and then what we would need to do really is a PO for the $3,000.
So you guys would have to go through the process of looking at the RFPs,
Right.
deciding which one you want to go with, and then getting a contract or PO, however would work out with them.
Okay, so can I move
No,
that we,
no,
whoops,
ask the
sorry.
question.
Can I just, I think that it would probably be worth my time to just contact Brad James about this grant, and because we actually already have the money, but we're not supposed to, if we don't spend it, we need to give it back. And so I want to see what flexibility and leeway there is with the remaining money.
We don't wanna
Maybe I
give
don't
anything
need to do a
back.
PO.
I don't want, we should not build a website just so we don't spend the money, just so we spend the
No,
money.
if it's something you wanna do though, I
Yeah.
can just assume, or if not, there's other things that the money can go towards.
Yeah.
So I can.
They promised us a lot and they haven't delivered yet, so.
Who's that?
The state of Vermont. It was supposed to be 150 per group
Is
and,
this our Hawaii trip, Richard?
yeah.
So can I make a motion that we ask at River Valleys if anyone else is interested in working on this?
We are.
We are.
No, sorry.
Wardsboro
Bless you.
or WCSU?
Thanks. That's what I meant.
WCSU.
Big bang. And if the answer is no, that we put this on our agenda for the next meeting and we move forward with putting it here.
Okay, so, you know what? We don't need a motion for that. I'll ask. Bill will take notes and he'll write it down.
That's not gonna give enough time.
Yeah,
If there's-
timeline's too tight.
This is already a really tight timeline to get,
For-
to get
With
RFPs.
the May 31st deadline.
For the May 31st deadline, which is
Well-
$3,000.
If you wanna use that to get the project started, then yeah.
Well, Lori just said we can encumber that money even without doing the RFP.
Well, you have to encumber it to somebody.
So then we have to do the
It's a
RFP.
PO, so it's a promise to pay, yeah. But like I said, I can check with him to see how much, if I call him and say, we have a plan in place, we don't have a vendor yet. What are the flexibility? What is the flexibility around that money? That's all I'm saying, is I can do that tomorrow.
Okay, so I move that we issue the RFP with a $5,000 to $15,000 range. After we check with Wyndham Central on whether or not there is supervisory union level interest in looking at this.
And what about, so we have allocated X number of dollars for the start of this project. Do we want to just leave that open and then Lori can figure out how much we have left and that can go in that line item, that line there? I mean, you won't have any more numbers at the end of the week or the end of the month.
Yeah, because all the checks will have, yes, I'll have better numbers by
But it'll be at the end of the month.
the end of the month.
So you should put the $3,000, that's what we're anticipating.
I'm not willing to move forward with this on $3,000. Let's
No,
just create
we
a
have
problem.
allocated $3,000 for the start of this
I see, okay.
project, which must be encumbered by May 31st. Our overall budget for the project is 5 to 15.
Okay,
So is that your motion?
yeah.
Would you restate it, please?
So Laura moved to put forward this RFP. And on page 3 of the RFP, she moved to put, we've allocated $3,000 under budget details for the start of this project, and that our overall budget would be between $5,000 and $15,000.
And the RFP goes out,
Let me finish.
yeah. Don't shush me, Richard.
I just shushed
So
you.
we're approving the RFP with a starting budget not to exceed 5 to 15?
No, we have allocated $3,000 for the start of this project.
Yes.
And our overall budget for this project is $5,000 to $15,000. And the project must be billed before May 31st, 2019. You will just don't, let me finish or we'll get confused. Are you good, sir?
Yeah.
Okay, the only other thing that was in discussion, I don't know if Laura wants to add it, is an employee portal under the new website functionality requirements.
That's just the link.
They'll do that.
Okay,
No, I mean,
so then that's good. So that's your motion?
after we talk to the supervisor. So we first
Well, I
have to
don't,
talk to the
right,
supervisor.
I don't think that you need that in the motion because we talked to supervisor, you're not basing the discussion at the supervisory union on having any outcome on this. So if we talk to
No, that's my
supervisor,
motion. My motion is if we go to the supervisor union and they say, oh, let's do it, then we wait, and we don't do it. That's what my
Okay.
motion is supposed to be.
Contingent upon.
Nobody needs to second that motion. Now you have a motion.
contingent upon,
Contingent upon
Lack of interest by,
approval
lack of
interest by the SU.
from WCSU,
upon interest. Contingent
lack
upon-
of interest.
Lack of interest.
Upon lack of interest. If they're not interested, we're going ahead.
Yes.
Yes. Creative motion. Are you good? Okay.
There's no
Does anybody
second.
want to second that motion?
One second.
Okay, Dwight will second the motion. Is there any further discussion? Yes.
Just on the contingent part, like you said before, it's not quite, like, what does interest mean? I'm not sure what that means. Like, you know, interest means one part, well, that sounds like a good idea, or is it, yes, we want to be a part of this and we're willing to sign on to it? I'm not sure what.
I could pretty much guarantee you after 20 years of Women's Central meetings, nobody's gonna jump up and say, what a wonderful idea, sign us all up.
That's what I wanted
But
to hear.
maybe,
That's what I wanted to
maybe
hear.
Lori, who's got more time in the WCSU than anybody, will tell me different. What do you think, Lori?
I think you're probably right on.
All right,
Okay.
that's what I wanted to hear.
I'm sure they're gonna wanna
Then
see
we're trying to do the right
paperwork.
thing. In
Yes,
my mind,
yes.
then we're trying to do the right thing.
Great,
Okay,
okay.
as long as you understand that.
I'm gonna have experience at those meetings.
Yeah, yeah.
That's it.
Anybody else?
So how does this motion work? You go to the meeting tomorrow.
Wednesday. I'll go tomorrow, but nobody will.
You'll go on
So there'll be
Wednesday.
no
Okay.
interest at
I'm not
all.
gonna be there
That's
Wednesday.
when you should go.
And there's no interest, and then you call and say,
We just-
Mark,
You
there's
just,
no interest, send the RFP out.
right,
Matt.
Mark is working with Matt to send it out. So Mark will change the 5 and the 15 and the date for us. And then you've got some people you want to send this to, right?
Yeah, and I don't know how you guys typically send out.
Through Matt, right?
Yeah.
Newspaper.
Yeah. Standard process.
Okay.
And Tammy, excuse me. You know, feel free to correct though, because we all have to get into that, you know, new world, right?
Correct.
We're so-
Matt can do that.
Well, no, I
I was
said.
gonna say,
I'm like,
She was
no,
being really smart.
Yeah.
I know, but I'm like,
She
oh
was
no,
like, wow,
but
they
it's
left me
not just
alone.
Matt, because it's both the schools, even though we're doing, I'm trying to be cognizant, I think we all have to.
She's
remind
looking for
each
your
other.
vote in a year.
Jesus, maybe I'm not. Okay.
Maybe she's had enough. You guys all good? Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I guess it's
Aye.
unanimous then.
So we're lucky guy.
No, I just
Why?
wasn't
What's the
sure.
reluctant look like?
Okay, so hey guys,
Reluctant,
Did
it
something.
sounds.
because of the noise upstairs, I'm gonna get Lori out of here. So first thing from Lori is she wants us to sign some banking documents.
Oh.
All right, so,
This is the one.
Then she wants us to give her a credit card.
okay, so the first document is a resolution for People's Bank to be the bank of choice, basically. And, it allows Marco and myself to be administrators on the account. So we just need a motion for that. You do not sign unless you have a notary, so is there any notaries here? So you have to sign here, but.
If we make it the vice chairman signs, then I can notarize that.
Chair. So,
Okay, so
Sorry.
can somebody make a motion that we approve the agreement with People's United Bank for an account, an omni-business deposit account, certified resolution, authorize the chairman to sign it, and then I'll take it and get Andy to notarize and get it to you tomorrow or Wednesday?
That's fine, yeah, Wednesday.
You are?
I don't understand why, but.
Well, it doesn't, it's in state, it doesn't need a
I
stamp.
don't think it needs, it doesn't say.
Yeah, usually if it's in state, it doesn't need a stamp, so we can do it then.
Okay,
So you want to,
and you're also authorizing Marco and
oh,
Lori
which,
Garland.
okay, so the motion is, that Dwight's making, Peter, is
Yeah.
that the chair sign the omnibus business deposit account certified resolution, making Marco Tellini treasurer and Lori Garland business manager the authorized individual signers. Good, Lori?
Perfect.
So Dwight moved, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Rick seconds it, is there any discussion?
You're gonna have to give me those titles.
Okay, bless you, Matt.
Bless you.
Omnibus business,
Omnibus, OMNIBUS,
okay,
business deposit
deposit, okay.
account certified resolution for River Valley's Unified Union School District, and to have Marco Tellini, treasurer, and Lori Garland, business manager, be the signatories, authorized individuals.
Okay, thank you.
Do we have a second?
I said,
Rick seconds it. Is there any more discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Who moved?
Dwight moved it, Rick seconded it. Okay, Laura, we got one done for you. Then you have a credit card thing?
This to our in-house notary.
oh,
Okay, so this is a business card resolution form. This is, the board clerk actually needs to sign this, that the.
She's not here.
Okay. So, but can you still make the motion? Yeah.
I would think so.
Sure.
So,
Why don't we make the motion to have the board chair sign on behalf of the board clerk?
so what you're also doing is authorizing Marco and I
Yeah.
to be basically responsible for the credit card.
Okay.
And you're also authorizing that you're having a credit card.
All right.
Okay, and then the board, then you'll have to also make a
Well,
motion.
that's first, right?
Don't do, it's all one motion.
So one motion.
Dover
Yeah.
does.
All right. That's it.
So,
Wardsboro does not have one.
Because we're a new district.
hey Peter, you ready?
You ready?
New district.
Okay, so Dwight's gonna move
Go ahead, you got it?
that we approve the use of a business credit card for the River Valley's Unified School District,
Yep.
and that Marco Tellini, treasurer, and Lori Garland, our business manager, be responsible for said credit card,
Yep.
and that the board sign the resolution authorizing the credit card,
Okay.
and that the board chair sign on behalf of the board clerk, who is not present tonight.
On behalf of the board clerk.
Who's not present tonight.
Got it.
You good with that?
Yeah.
I'll second.
Okay, Rick seconds the motion. Is there any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Well, it was unanimous. So,
No, I didn't hear Laura over there.
I did.
I
That's
did.
what I.
Okay, good.
Okay, Lori, you 2 out of 2 so
Okay.
far. You're batting 1,000.
All right, so now we
Don't push
have.
it though.
More?
Is there a trip to Hawaii?
No, but it's the VMERS,
Yeah, we need to have a
Election.
discussion about that in executive session.
okay.
So we
We'll
will,
be holding on this.
well, can you give me that? And then if we come out of executive session?
I will be here, so.
Do you want us to make a copy of it?
No, that's okay.
Yeah, that, I should have done
So
that. You
this
put
is-
this somewhere.
This is the actual
Right, you
motion.
need to,
Okay, I just want to clarify because VMERS is actually very particular.
no,
And we went through this with West River already, so.
already. Okay, blessing the stipends. That was the other thing that I had under you. So I completed this on 4/2 and sent this to Lori. And as approved at the annual meeting held in Dover, February 13th, 2018, District Clerk Andrew McLean, $2,000. District Treasurer Marco Tellini, $500. District Board Member Rick Thorpe, $1,000. Barry Pearson, $1,000. Dwight Moore, $1,000. Carrie McDonald Katie, $1,000. Laura Spilly, $1,000. Rich Warner, $1,000. And I signed this on 4/2/19. I just need somebody to make a motion that the River Valley stipend submitted on 4/2/19 is approved as submitted.
I think the last two.
Well, you can do them all, makes it easier.
All right. I'll make a motion that the River Valley stipend be approved
Second.
As submitted
as submitted
on April 2nd,
on April 2nd.
2019. You got that, Peter?
But the RV stipends submitted for 2/19 be approved as submitted.
Yes.
And Laura Sebelius seconded the motion. Huh? That's what we told them, because of the vote for this year, because it was commingled. Everybody ready to vote? All those in favor say aye. Okay, sounds like everybody. Is it still an unanimous vote if 2 people were absent?
Yes.
Okay, so, bless the stipends list, sign the banking documents, the VMERS thing will get done in a little bit. And Lori, was that it for you?
It was, I have the stipends for fiscal year 20. We did stipend agreements, but we don't have to do that tonight because there's plenty of time, so.
If you've got them and you're here, why don't we just do them if it's okay?
So it's,
Because it should change.
right, so this is the stipend agreements for all of the board members and also that was for the treasurer, and that was for Andy, and then the other ones, so these are for fiscal year 20, so those won't pay out till a year from now, but we do them along with contracts, the stipend agreements, so.
Never had one before in my life. Peter, you ready?
Yeah,
So Dwight's gonna move.
You did a lot tonight.
Yeah, that we're going to have the board chair sign on behalf of the River Valleys Unified School District. A $200 stipend for Dr. Backus as the moderator. A $200 stipend from Randy Capitani as auditor. A $2,500 stipend to Rich Werner for school board. A $2,000 stipend to Carrie McDonald Katie as school board.
okay,
A $2,000 stipend to Barry Pearson as school board.
2,000,
Yep. $2,000 stipend to Dwight as school board. BLEREN. A $2,000 stipend to Laura Sebelia as a school board member.
okay,
And a $2,000 stipend to Rick Thorpe as school board member.
okay,
A $2,400 stipend to Marco Tellini as treasurer.
2,400,
Yes.
okay,
And a $2,400 stipend to Andy McLean as school district clerk.
that's distinct from his irregular other titles,
Yep.
got it,
And then a $200 stipend to Bob McIntyre, MC, capital INTYRE, as auditor.
okay,
You good with that, Dwight? Sure. Cool. Do I have a second to Dwight's motion?
Yes.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody, oh, that's it, unanimous again. Look at that, you're batting 1,000, Lori. You better ask for it now, because you may
That's
not
good.
get it
That's
again.
That's all
Cool.
I had for you guys.
Thank you. You want me to give these to Bill and I'll sign
Yeah,
them?
you can give those to Bill because
Okay.
everybody else should sign them as well.
Well, yeah, we'll give you, I'll sign, give them to you, and then you'll get them to the individual people. Find yours and Laura's and Rick's, and you can pass those out tonight. Yeah, you have to sign them too. Oh, I guess, give me, I had it right down. Okay, let's get back on agenda. So, under additions or deletions to the agenda, Dwight asked that we have 2 things added. And one was to talk about a capital project for the extension of the building, so we'll do that under new business, building, staffing, and then we'll do the addition. And then you also had an executive session, hiring of a new teacher in Wardsboro, which fits right in staffing. So is there any other additions, deletions to the agenda? Members of the public, you guys be it. Mark? Had your time. Review and approve the minutes of the April 1st, 2019 meeting. Motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Second.
Rick seconds, Dwight moved. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Bye.
Unanimous again. Bill, you're gonna have a lot of things. You better ask for something, Bill. And then, updating the Wardsboro focus, you had a school visit, and
We did.
what's your, Anita gave us something about it too?
She
and-
did. Anita, did everybody get Anita's email, which what consisted of a video clip of our tour and our day. So that is, you can find the video clip on our website. So if you go to wardsboroschool.org, it is right on the front page. Our day was great. So Samantha Bovat, our 5-6 teacher, Valerie Bills, our 3-4 teacher, myself, and Anita got to spend the day at Gilsum Academy, which is a STEAM school. We got there first thing in the morning. We were able to meet with the principal who took us through the process that their school has gone through. We then toured the school, which is a fantastic facility, and they've allotted certain rooms that are STEAM rooms, like they have a makerspace room where the kids can go and create things, which is really cool. And they've created other spaces within the room, within the school, specific for STEAM. We also got to spend time in the classrooms working with the kids. I was amazed at the skills that they had. Kindergartners were using rulers to measure to the 1.5 inches, which was pretty amazing. We then got to spend some time with the older students who were building rockets for the afternoon that they were going to be launching. And they were also measuring out on their track outside a spacewalk that they were going to be doing later that afternoon, which was pretty cool to see. We then ate lunch with the kids, so we got to spend some time with the kids talking to them about how they feel about their school and STEAM and the program, and everyone was really excited and jazzed about it. All the kids loved the STEAM days, according to them. We then also got to meet with the teachers on all of the STEM days that they have. They've made time so that the teachers all eat lunch together, and it allows them to make adjustments for the day. So if things weren't really going as planned, they're able to correct that during that meeting. And then in the afternoon, it was similar to the morning because the sections basically switched. And that's where we saw the students launch their rockets and then participate in the spacewalk that they had measured out that morning. So it was a great day. We got a lot of information. I feel pretty confident about the direction that we're going in. You guys have questions about the day or any information that we got?
I have questions
Sure.
about professional development for our staff.
Sure.
What would that look like?
So that is something that we'll have to decide. We did have the meeting with the National Institute for STEM Education as a pathway for certification. That school did not choose STEM certification for their teachers, but they've done a lot of PD on their own through the research that they've done. Good teaching is good teaching. So basically what they've done for professional development is they spend days during the summer months developing units for the upcoming year. And that's their PD.
And are they working with any like outside of academia, like any?
They do a lot of
Industrial.
community outreach. So people from the community come in, including their laughter program. So their laughter program is separate from the school in that people from the community come in and then they do STEAM activities with the kids.
What kind of activities in the
I didn't get those sort of details. It was probably similar to the makerspace, creativity, design, things that the kids are creating.
I don't know if you all saw Anita's report, but can I read this real
Yeah.
quick? So she participated in school visits, spent half a day on April 4th. She observed a STEAM after-school activity at the Wardsboro School and another one at the Wardsboro Public Library, both on April 9th.
So those were happening prior to the break. Those were 2 sessions that were being offered.
And she made a short narrated videos of the events on April 4th and 9th and uploaded them then to Dropbox. The final videos are each less than 5 minutes, which was her intention to keep the presentation short, fun, and to the point. The Dropbox links and the still photo and captions to Tammy, Matt, Bill, and others to use as a link is desired on any platform or in their newsletters. The videos were approved by Tammy, and she posted the links to the videos on the Wardsboro school website, like you said, and on the home page. For the May issue of the Buckettville News, she submitted a short news item about visiting the WES website and the 2 STEAM videos. She sent in a still photo with a caption, but was not sure if the Buckettville News will use that or not. And she has been keeping in contact with Tammy. There's possibly another visit pending in early May. And if there's questions for the board, she's happy to discuss them. She needs a copy for the June Buckettville News by May 10th. That was it. She sent an invoice in for her work so far, which she just sends right to you, right? Your office. Everybody good with that?
Just a question.
Yeah.
So, if I understand, you went, that school does every 6th day,
Correct.
they do a STEM day.
Yeah, and they do that because of the way their specials work. They're on a 6-day rotation, similar to ours where we have PE on Tuesdays and Thursdays. They're on a 6-day rotation, so their art teacher actually, because it's a STEAM program, it includes the arts, is there that 6th day with them.
Did they discuss how that works for them in terms of building towards that day?
So that's what they do for their professional development, is that they do a lot of that planning in anticipation for those days.
It's a big project day.
It is.
Right, so they don't build a rocket every day, they kind of build towards it.
Exactly.
Okay.
Anybody, anything else for Tammy? So,
I'm hoping to put a proposal for the next meeting.
well, I was
for
gonna
you
say,
all.
do you feel another visit's gonna do anything more for you?
I'm glad that you asked, because I feel like very confident about where we are, and I feel like I got all the information, and the staff felt like they got all of the information that they needed from the visit that we took. I think maybe down the road that could be a possibility, but I don't think that another visit would necessarily steer us in another direction.
So if you guys are comfortable as our educational gurus to bring to us something that we can do a vote at the next meeting, I don't think anybody on the board would be upset. Is there anything that the board wants them to do more of?
No, but what I think would be helpful and probably good for all of us is if there could be some kind of like in addition to whatever you're gonna bring in to propose, something that is really easily digestible, like a 1-page, like that we could get to the public or parents, or, for more information, here's what we're looking at.
Sure.
Like,
Write the proposal out, is that?
but like just on 1 page.
Sure.
Something brief and easy to understand that can be passed out. And
Tells them where to go get more info.
right, like Bill did on that original one where he had
Timelines.
like, if you're interested in punk rock, here's what website you go to, and if you like STEM, you go here, and if you want to see more about IB, you go here.
Sure.
And let's get that out early then too, so, we've kind of always tried to say that we would have discussion in both buildings before we make a vote that affects the district. So I don't know if we should vote next week, next meeting.
I can have the proposal for next
Have the
meeting, then you
proposal,
guys
we can
make a
discuss
decision.
it, see if there's any concerns, get it out there, and then
Sure.
in 2 weeks after that, we can vote on it at the end of May. It would be here, but I think it would be okay, because we would have had the main discussion about it in Wardsboro.
Doesn't matter which building we're discussing.
Yeah. Bill?
Business or-
Oh, just so that Tammy's clear about what you guys are looking for in a recommendation. You're looking for 1-page recommendation of what?
So I don't know that her recommendation needs to be 1 page.
Okay.
What I think it should be, whatever she thinks it should be for the board,
Okay.
but that we want to have something that is easily digestible, or like we can hand to parents or staff or public to just say, here's more information about what we're doing, because it won't be, or maybe we're not at that point. Maybe Tammy
Well,
will come back and
that's what I'm
say, we're
trying
not
to
at that
wonder.
point.
Because I agree with you, we're gonna want that piece, but is that piece come at the same time as the board
Maybe it does,
asking? Because
maybe it does not.
what Tammy will bring is a request and a recommendation, and you guys will approve. And then I agree that
That's
then
where
we're
we're
gonna
gonna
need
land.
like
Yeah.
a deployment plan that will need to be shared.
Well, I think the first thing the board has to do is,
Get a proposal.
the board has to approve something.
Absolutely.
And I don't think we need the implementation plan to say that the focus we agree to is ABC. Once that's done, then it gets back to you guys, and you guys come up with the implementation, what you need, because we've given you money for professional development, what you're gonna do with that, how you're gonna move it forward. I don't think all that has to be ahead of time. If this is your recommendation, that you really like this seemed to be the most overwhelming thing that came up in the survey, just sum it all up for us so that we can feel comfortable saying, the focus of the Wardsboro school is gonna be.
So I think the chair is saying that you could give a one-sheeter to the board. That was not what I was saying. So,
No, I don't even need a one, I mean, I just.
I would like a one-sheeter for sure,
The
at
board would
least.
like a recommendation
Right.
and sum up the process to get to the recommendation. And then
The background will allow
secondarily,
us to vote.
there'll be a conversation about deployment and
Educating the
educating
public
the
about where we're
public and
going.
communication. Okay.
That's more what I was
Is
saying.
that,
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Just curious, are you leaning towards a certification process or for the school or?
I think that we need to investigate that further.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, is everybody good? Is that all as clear as mud?
So actually, just in the interest of success, just to be even clearer, would this proposal, and I really don't want to get into the weeds, but just want to manage my expectations also. So would it be something that would come in with like timeline, like here's what I want to do
That's what I
with the staff in this period of
drafted.
time? Great,
Yeah.
awesome.
Okay, again, I don't think we need the timeline and all that to vote on direction to head. So I think it's more important that we get what we need to vote on, the direction to move forward. Once we say this is, so spend a bunch of time, do a timeline, a draft, and then we say, hey, we don't like it, we're not gonna vote for it.
Right.
That's why I was saying we need to focus on the information that the board needs to move this forward. And what the board needs to do is vote that this is gonna be the focus of that building. The rest of the stuff to me comes after the fact. Once we decide we're gonna move forward, then we need the timeline and the one-page thing that goes to the parents but I think, you need the information to get it so that the board can get input from the public and get input from whoever wants to give us input to come up with a vote. Because before we do anything, we have to vote on where we wanna go.
So you're basically looking for a summary of the process that has made us arrive at the decision that.
I'm looking for a recommendation from my educational professionals.
summary with a recommendation?
Okay,
They
perfect.
Is that?
Then step two.
Is that okay?
The more detail you get, less chance of.
Well, the further in the weeds we're gonna get, the more details that are in it. There's gonna be more and more questions about everything.
Right.
And we're just voting on a direction, right? Am
That's
I
right.
wrong here?
Yes, we're not
This is
voting
the
on,
direction, and this
we're
is
not
our
voting on
focus, and
professional
the school is going to be
development.
moving
Right now,
forward,
we're
and
talking
we are blessing that.
Nothing.
That's right.
Yes. We're talking a lot about that.
I think I hear
Yeah.
makeup call.
What'd you say?
I hear makeup call.
You hear makeup calling? I do too.
Intermission.
Okay. Lord, thank you,
Is that clear?
Tammy.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hey, if you have any questions, just call. We'll straighten you right out. We'll give you 12 different answers. 2 from each board member. Bill's not very clear. He's smiling. Look at his smirk over there. It's a smirk. He's saying, I could be watching basketball. I could be watching hockey. So listen, I'm gonna, on this response to the concerned, on the board list of future work, I'm gonna put that off to next meeting because we're running late. I'm gonna be, the response to concerned citizen, I'm gonna put off. I need to do the follow-up on the structure for WCSU. I'm gonna do very briefly. Are you gonna do it?
No, just one.
Okay, so what we're doing is on Wednesday, we're hopefully gonna have enough people. Do you have any idea
We've
where?
got 9 confirmed. I've got a call-in opportunity.
Okay, So we're gonna hopefully meet at Leland and Gray at 7 p.m. on Wednesday to approve a structure for Wyndham Central, or discuss it. So if we found out that we were led down a bad path several years ago, the state law is pretty specific. It is not one person, one voter, one of that thing, except in Vermont. The law states that you have, if you operate a school, you get 3 votes. If you don't operate a school, you get 1 vote. So WCSU, if nothing intervened between now and June 30th, July 1st, there would be 3 members from West River, 3 members from Wyndham, 3 members from River Valley, 3 members from Marlboro, and 1 from Stratton. So it'd be a 13-member board. That really, again, with West River being 51% of the students, you know, I think the program we came up with 4 from West River,
It was 14 total, so I believe it was 6.
6 West River, 3 from River Valley, 2 from Marlboro, 2 from Wyndham, and 1 from Stratton. And that seemed to be something that everybody was pretty much in agreement with. So we can request the State Board of Ed to do that for us, but it has to be a special request. And the reason I'm pushing this and trying to get this done now is if we can have a vote on that and we agreed to that on Wednesday, then we would then be able to present it to the State Board and hopefully before July 1st, have it blessed so that we can reorganize July 1st to be done with it. There may be that people decide that the way the state wants us to be, the 13-member board is the way to go. I don't know. But I thought it should be the Wyndham Central group that got to discuss it. So we're gonna have that meeting on Wednesday. Everybody good with that? Okay. So we gotta get Johnny to come. Have you had
So we sent out an email today before we left the office. And you have a call-in option or a physical option.
Wednesday.
Actually, this Sunday?
Yeah. You should go if you can. Here, Dwight's gonna go, remind him.
Really has to-
Is that
I don't know
enough?
if you-
Peoples? Is Terry?
Oh,
Sorry, I can't go.
We'll let you know.
okay.
Can't go
I know
Monday.
what you're planning.
So anyways, so that's
If it's
gonna,
critical?
that's gonna happen on Wednesday at 7 o'clock at Leland Gray.
Right.
We had a financial review from central office. I was hoping to just go over where we stood. But we let Lori go, and I forgot that. But there's something else Lori asked us that I'd like to do tonight too. Lori says we need to approve an assistant treasurer for River Valleys. So we have somebody who can sign checks if Marco's not around. So the suggestion was that we use, don't say it, Terry Fletcher from WCSU.
Well done.
And, well, because I noticed Terry up there struggled for the last name. So so Lori said Terry Fletcher can be your assistant treasurer if it's okay with the treasurer. Marco said, I'm okay with Terry as assistant. Got the proof right here in the pudding. So if somebody would like to make a motion to have Terry Fletcher be the River Valley Unified School District's assistant treasurer, please make that motion.
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Laura moved and Rick seconded. Is there any more discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. You good?
Yeah. also.
Okay, cool. Tell Laura she batted 1,000 even not being here. List of stipends list, sign banking documents, VMERS. I'm gonna ask that the VMERS thing, because that's a contractual issue. And that, I'm gonna ask that we hold off on that and discuss that in executive session because it does deal with contracts and agreements. Building and staffing for River Valley for FY 2020.
6th. May 6th.
You're gonna have that May 6th?
We're talking about May 6th.
Okay, the contracts have to get issued before that.
If they are a current employee.
Okay, so there are no current employees of the River Valley School District? Okay. And then, so I guess we're okay there. I have the next meeting as May 6th in Wardsboro, and that's, we've got some stuff to do there, and May 20th in Dover. So I had for executive session, we had, building.
Dwight's here.
Dwight, your building issue.
Dwight has two.
Are 2 building issues?
No, he's got a
Two
staff.
issues.
But staffing,
building.
is
I think executive
staffing,
session, isn't it?
is staffing executive session hiring?
Well, we may want to discuss the process in open session.
Sure.
And then talk about the contractual issue in executive session.
Okay. So we'll start with that then. So I was part of the staff issue. I was part of a committee to hire a new teacher for Wardsboro for the
Second, third grade.
1-2.
First set.
1-2.
For second.
1-2. You don't have second, third. 1-2, right? Yeah. And so it was a great process, and we met with some excellent candidates, and we selected one to move forward with. And I guess I'm not sure what else I can say about that, other than she's having great, and hopefully I don't know if she's going to approach for the job and how that works with her, but that in the executive session. Is that
We'll
right?
talk about an executive session, but then outside of executive session, the way the process works.
The
is
process
The superintendent or superintendent
Okay.
designee makes a recommendation to the
Okay.
board, and the board makes the decision.
Right. But it was a great process, and I was very pleased with the candidates that came forward.
Great.
Everybody good?
Yeah. As far as the building is concerned, the Wardsboro board has been kind of exploring, or a little more than exploring, has been moving forward with an extension on the building in order to have space for the 3-year-old program. And we've been doing this for quite some time, and the board has hired the services of an architect to help with designs, and also to put those designs out to bid, so we can have an idea of what the cost would be for that extension. So this has been ongoing. We're now at the stage where the board has approved an RFP to be sent out. I don't know if it's RFP, but maybe just the basic design has been approved, I should say. And now they'll be coming back with cost estimates, and then once the cost estimates come in, the board can move forward with either approving the designs for the extension. Estimates, but we do have estimates from the architect. He's guessing it will be somewhere around $100,000 for the extension. So I thought, in the interest of disclosure, and we talked about that at the last meeting, that this is what's been being discussed at the Wardsboro board meeting.
Where's money coming from?
From the Wardsboro Capital Fund?
So it's gonna be done before June 30th?
The contract, if the board moves forward, would be done, the contract would be signed prior to June 1st. Or June 30th. So,
Cool.
any discussion? I'm not sure, but the process, obviously, this is a large amount of money. It's even a little more than we originally had anticipated. But I thought it would be nice to at least discuss it here and see if this board had any concerns or questions.
Rick, you all set?
So
Just digesting.
I thought we were coming in with fairly equal capital reserve funds.
No,
We were not, okay.
no, we still have us one in the water
Okay.
per pupil and per capita. Yes, sir.
Might there be expansion needed for STEAM or STEM? You were talking about earlier, the school you went to visit had rooms specific for that. If so,
What's that?
Is it
He's
work-
asking, would there need to be more room for STEM?
I don't know.
Right, I mean,
That would be a separate, obviously a separate project.
The other element is that we'll have the architect at the Wardsboro meeting, is that
Either on the 7th of May.
the 7th of May? He'll be at the Wardsboro meeting?
Yeah, so River Valleys is on the 6th.
Right,
The
7th.
Yeah.
So, and then we were gonna put some information out to the public too, to the parents, see if they wanted to attend. And I don't know if that's gonna be going out other places.
I mean, in our school newsletter.
School newsletter.
Good Lord.
I mean, yeah,
Mark, you were all set with yours?
it's a pretty big investment. I mean, I just, like, it'd be good to just know what's happening in that building.
I think we just got told what's happening.
Yeah.
Rick, if you're all set?
Yeah, so this is necessary for 3-year-olds, is that?
I'll let Tammy get this question, but my understanding is yes, otherwise it would be, like, they would be combined with the pre-K and K. This provides them a separate space and an additional bathroom. It just blows out one of the walls there.
They have a unique situation, but they have 3, 4, and 5-year-olds in one space. Whereas,
So that's part of the combined grades, because they've got first and second, third and fourth and fifth and sixth.
the challenge is when you separate pre-K from K, there's different
Easier.
regulatory requirements. When you merge pre-K with K, you have to accomplish all of those things in a similar
I will add that we're hopeful, one of the decisions of the board, or the reason we're exploring this, because there'll be additional revenues for the 3-year-olds, and there aren't any other, there aren't any other facilities near Wardsboro, so we're hoping to attract 3-year-olds from
Bring some
those towns to get an income. So we're hoping that the income will maybe not offset, certainly
Help.
certainly help.
Okay, if we're all good. We,
And this is being paid, this is not being, like, it's like,
no, I don't think Wardsboro can bond for River Valleys. I mean, I question if Wardsboro can even enter in a contract, but it might, the law stated, Act 46 stated that any expenditures, continue, any surpluses go into the new district, any deficits. So, if Wardsboro voted to spend $2 billion and there was a deficit there, it carries over. You have no say.
into the new district.
Yep. And I think they could even vote to bond it, and that debt would carry over to the new district without the new district having a say.
That would not be very.
No, we wouldn't do that, certainly. I think, from a financial perspective, again, the revenue, we're hoping will either offset or certainly along the way. And also, we want students to come and then create to come as 3-year-olds and then continue.
The same exactly we've done here. It's you know what, it's like, almost like we're twins. So it's not. It's just, it should have been something that had been brought to the River Valley Board back when we were doing the budget originally, because, now that's $100,000 hit on the reserves, and we were figuring, okay, you had this much in reserves, we had this much in reserves, but again, there's a lot of stuff going on, and people are going in 100 directions, we can't even get the full boards to attend, not only, we can't get them to attend River Valley meetings, we can't get them to attend Open Central, we can't get them to attend Dover, I don't know how Wardsboro's meetings are going.
It's not many people there, but
No, I meant board members.
Oh, yeah. Well, we're down to 3 board members too, so, so we talked about that too. And, I give, or either Barry or myself gives updates after Wardsboro board meetings about River Valley, but it doesn't go the other way around. We don't have updates at these meetings from what's going on in Wardsboro. It's kind of late for that now, but maybe we should have been doing that.
No, it's only a couple months left. And if it rains like this for 40 days and 40 nights, then it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But we'll be right up here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we won't matter though. We'll take your money.
Yeah.
Can I get a motion to move in executive session for employment, contractual issue, and staffing?
Is your house closed down? So moved.
Well,
Yes.
Those been in the car?
motion, yes. Second by Dwight, motion by Laura. Bill?
So Dwight, are you, so Tammy could be, are you and Tammy prepared to make a recommendation outside of executive session?
No, they don't make a recommendation, you make a
Right,
recommendation.
yeah.
My designee.
Oh, okay.
You need a, you looking for a name? Is that-
No, I mean,
What do you, yeah, I'm not,
for the
they can
employment,
make a recommendation?
are you just comfortable? Just wanna-
Yeah, sure.
Because Tammy's gonna leave. I want to make
I
sure.
mean, I can stay, I don't think you
How long
need
we
me.
going in for?
You, it's gonna be your executive session, you're gonna tell them.
It won't be long.
All right.
So you want to send me a note until I leave?
I'll stay.
You may wanna wait, because if we're gonna be long in a few minutes, I'll let you know, and we'll let you guys take off, okay?
Honestly,
Or not?
Yeah,
me?
it's actually, well, Laura's gonna be. Unanimous consent, we're back in at 9:03 PM. So the issue, the contractual retirement issue, the administration is gonna work on discussing with the staff or working with the staff to give them some information before the board makes a decision to get some input from the staff. And then the second issue was a staffing for River Valley for 2020. And I think Dwight and Tammy want to speak to us about that.
So like you make a motion or what do I need to do?
Yeah, could just take 2 minutes, explain the process, what you did, and then you have a recommendation.
Sure, we undertook a search for a teacher at Wardsboro and consisted of 5 people on the search committee, and we interviewed and then came to a decision to recommend one of those candidates to be hired. Anything else?
And Bill, you appointed Tammy as your
Tammy was my designee running the process, and she conferred with me throughout the beginning, middle, and end, and I'm in full agreement of making this recommendation to the board
Tammy, you want to recommend somebody to us?
So
without a name.
So I would like to recommend that we hire the candidate that we have chosen for our multi-grade teacher position.
Okay. I didn't bring it up in there, and I'm sorry. One of the things you're gonna have to give to us also, because there's no salary schedule, you're gonna have to make a salary recommendation to us. You're gonna have to justify it, other than just saying, this is what I wanna pay. Do you guys have that?
We can bring it on the 6th.
Okay, when you bring the contract, bring that, because I know you're gonna get asked about it.
We're working on that.
Right.
We've got a form that we're,
And remember,
Yeah,
you know,
each
Bill, you've done it before with that, but it would be good to
Yeah.
work with
Yeah.
Tammy and Matt, because I think everybody, because it's one unit now. So, do we want to make a motion, does somebody like to make a motion to ask Tammy to bring forward to at our next meeting a contract for the,
So moved for the candidate in a recommendation on salary
do we have a second?
and justification.
On salary. Motion and a second. Peter, are you good with the motion?
Yeah.
Okay, there's no further discussion, or is there any further discussion? About it. Excuse me, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Go forward. You've been blessed.
thank you.
Okay, anybody want to adjourn?
Yeah, motion adjourned.
Okay, Dwight made a motion to adjourn, Laura seconded, all voted in favor.
Aye.
Rich is smiling.